Hey everybody, welcome to my vlog and podcast. Finally got time to set up the studio. I'm gonna make some changes in the future, but let's start out with our first vlog. And what better way to start off with than the age-old asked question, the most asked question that I get whenever I do a live stream or in the comment section in my videos or even in my inboxes is, how much do I charge? So a lot of nail techs that enter this industry, what's one of the biggest issues they have is how much to start charging and how do they charge comparable to nail techs that are more experienced or nail techs that have just been in for a couple of years. There's a lot of different price ranges here in the nail industry compared to other beauty industry, in my opinion anyways. But before we get to breaking down how much a private nail tech should charge, let's categorize the nails between the two industry with salon prices versus private nail tech prices, because there's a big difference between the two, and relatively, if you understand both sides, then we can also break it down and be more understanding. And this video will definitely help a lot of viewers that are maybe you're not nail techs, you're just getting nails done, and you're maybe confused by the price, or you want to know more about the price, why it costs this much, and you don't want to offend your nail tech, or you don't want to, come off telling someone they're undercharging or overcharging you. So let's start out with salon pricing. Salon pricing, as someone that's owned a salon, worked in multiple salons in my 10 plus years experience as a nail tech, there's ranges based on arguably location and competition, and then also amenities. As in, the salon can charge based on those three categories alone, regardless of the nail techs working there or the quality of work. Now, I'm not saying the quality of work doesn't play a factor in the price for salons, but that's probably like one of the fourth tier. And you have to understand too, salons, majority of salons, they don't prioritize long nails and designs. Things are overcomplicated that require a nail tech that has to require have a nail tech that has skill level high to be able to perform, and that's reasonable because 8 out of 10 clients that come in don't ask for that. They specialize in natural nail care, pedicure, manicure, and short nails, gel nails. Those are simpler services to perform, and the nail techs are able to do those services without having any complications. So that's why, you know, that is on the fourth tier compared to location. A great location salon, accessible, good parking near other businesses that are easy for the clients to come to. Majority of the time, like you go to a nice fancy restaurant, it's in a nice area. Of course, you know you're going to pay a little bit more, and the amenities inside, the cleanliness, how big the salon is, if they're providing drinks, services, that are going to be giving the client the feel that they're getting an experience. That's the one thing with going to a nail salon is you go there for the experience. You're, in a business location. Majority of clients like going to salon because they like the in and out. They can go during lunchtime. They don't have to book an appointment. They can do a walk-in if there's a walk-in availability, and they can get their service done and be on out the day. So salon will charge based on location for one, because of the rent. The better the location, of course, the rent's going to be a lot higher. So now that plays a big key factor in the pricing. And majority of the time, if you're a client, you understand that subliminally, right? And another portion is that the amenities, which I mentioned, and also competition. So if they're in an area where their prices are already kind of set from other salons, if you were to buy a salon and build a salon or buy a salon in the area, and I see all these other salons are priced relatively the same, guess what? I can establish my price based on that as my base value. And for salons, because their services are just relatively pedicure, manicure, short nails, and simpler designs, they don't have to really go exorbitantly into pricing. Like these long design nails have to do a lot of breakdowns, which majority of the time clients really like and enjoy. So they can set a really low base price and then just have add-ons and for length, shape, size, shape, and designs and stuff like that. But as I mentioned before, the majority of the income from a nail salon is not from long nails and designs, so they can make good money just doing the simpler nails and also the natural nail care. So that's why salon pricing is the way that it is. And of course, there are exceptions to that. Some salons have a lot of highly skilled nail techs, and they do a lot of long nails and acrylics, so they can charge higher price based on the market value, or sometimes just the nail tech be able to give the price based on what is reasonable. And when you work at a salon, it's more about timing. So timing is like if the salon is performing a service, let's say a basic pedicure, where you're just gonna go soak your feet, you're gonna get your nails trimmed, your polish removed, if it's a regular polish, then you're gonna get your pedicure, scrub your feet, lotion, hot towel, that basic pedicure, in and out. That's about $28, $30, some places even $25. And the service itself is dollar per minute. So that basic pedicure will probably take 35 minutes to 40 minutes max, depending on, if the client's getting any upgrades. So that's easy for the nail salon to turn over a profit comparably to if you are a nail tech and you're taking a private nail tech or even a nail tech in the salon. If you're going to sit down and do a full set, that is $40, and you're going to take an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's not going to turn over a profit for the salon, because the nail tech's going to pay the salon 40% and keep 60%. So it's not profitable. That's why a lot of salons are based on timing. And when it comes to acrylics, why go to do a long nails and design set and have to spend more time on that, and the value will not reflect that when you can do other services, which is 8 to 10 clients that comes in requests, compared to the 2 to 1 client, maybe on an off chance none, that request a long nails and design. So salon pricing is based on that alone, and of course they make a lot more money, generate a lot more income for the nail tech in the salon just based on the pedicure upgrades alone. And it's very less intensive. It doesn't need a big learning curve to be able to perform those services, and majority of nail techs can do them. Now we go to the private nail techs. Okay, now if you're a customer going to a private nail tech, you are looking for something. These private nail techs, majority of the nail techs in this industry, what we see on social media, what we see on Instagram, we want to do long nails and designs, right? Which is normal. But with that comes a long learning curve, and with that comes with a lot of building up your clientele to get that experience, because you are a private nail tech, licensed or unlicensed. You have to build it from the ground up. Every client, every referral counts. So the pricing for a private nail tech is relatively, I say, arguably higher than a nail salon, because although nail salons have, some salons that have really experienced nail techs to be able to do the long nails and designs, and some salons have a lot of those nail techs. But as to a private nail tech, that's all they specialize in. Majority of private nail techs don't offer pedicure, so they only solely focus on the nails itself. So they're able to spend more time on it, which in the end, they have to charge relative to the time they spent on it. So as a private nail tech, if you're entering this industry and you want to go into long nails and designs right away, and you don't have the experience to do those sets at a timely manner to turn over a right profit, or a profit margin for you to make sense for your supplies or whatever expenses you incur to do that set, does not mean that you're gonna can charge based on the time either, because just your experience level may be in the beginner phase where it might take you longer. So you can't charge based on your time, because if the client can go somewhere else and get that same set, same quality for an hour, and you're doing it 2 hours, then that really is not fair to the client. So private nail tech pricing generally higher, because they're only specializing in that field. And the ones that do make it out of the beginner phase and get that experience, at that point when their nails are at that level where they can charge what they feel like they're worth. I know it's tough when you hear that word, charge your worth, right? How do you know your worth? I'll be honest with you, I get this question a lot, and it's hard for me to answer it without, it's a very touchy matter. I don't believe anybody can tell someone how much they're worth, to be honest with you. I can say, hey, you can charge $60 for that, but if your client's willing to pay $80 and they're happy paying $80, who am I to tell you to make $20 less, right? I won't want someone to tell me that either. But in a sense, charge your worth does have a fine line. It does have a gray area where you don't want to over-exorbitant it and boost the price up too high, where you will lose potential client inquiries just because you're overcharging a little bit, and you want to give the clients a chance to come in. And there lies, we have the issue of how much do I charge that's reasonable for me and for the client. So as a private nail tech, I really do think that the very beginning phase, I think the first 1 year to 3 years is very tough. And there are some nail techs that are naturally talented that goes through and they just bust right through, and they're charging high prices, but their work is reflecting their prices. And there's a difference between that and coming in and trying to compare your prices with an experienced nail tech. So my recommendation when it comes to a private nail tech, if your customer comes to the nail tech, you're gonna look at their work. Of course, you're gonna know what they're able to do, what they can and can't do, and you should be able to pay their price. And if you don't agree with their price, there's always the ability just to shop around. You don't have to always tell them, hey, you're charging too much, and do it in a respectful manner. And for me, whenever I give a price out, even when I used to work in a salon and they bring in an inspo and I'm like, this is gonna cost you $130, I'll break it down what I have to do and how long it would take me. Now it's important that I don't really focus on the product. I see a lot of nail techs when they come to charging prices, they just say, oh, because I have to use this, I have to use these bling, this gem, this, all this stuff. I understand product costs. And product cost is one of those things, yes, you can add in there, but it should not make up the majority, the bulk of your service. Because if the moment you have their client talk about the moment you have your client think that, oh, the reason why this charges as much is because of this product, the next time they get a service and they don't get that bling or they don't get that whatever, then you have to deduct that from there. So for me, you have to really charge based on your experience, what you can and can't do. As in, every time I do nails, guess what? I have to do my retention. I have to do my prep. I have my prep for my retention. I have to shape. I have to check my structure. All that makes up the set, my application, and also my timing. You know, if I can do all that in a timely manner where it's convenient for the client, and I'm gonna charge the bulk of my prices based on that alone. So every time I do a client or every time I work on a client, I'm gonna be making more or less the same amount of money. And I think the clients will understand if you can perform and execute good retention, good shape, good structure, they won't mind paying the price. The only issue you run into is when you start labeling all these products on there, and I've defended a lot of analytics over this, and I said, yes, product cost is the thing. Rent, all that stuff is the thing. But when it comes down to the set itself, make sure you exercise your skills and not just the product alone to make up for the price. This will allow you to have that client for long term, and you'll be able to break down the prices a little bit easier. Hey, it's going to take me this long to do this, and this is how much it's going to cost, and then this is how much it costs for all these extras, and then the labor costs for maybe applying stones or something like that, or the art and designs. We'll get into that later. Right now, we're just going to go through just the nail tech portion of the private nail techs compared to the salon prices, so we can understand both sides of the field of this industry, because there is a division between salons and private nail techs right now. For some reason, I don't know why. I actually do know why, but I'm gonna speak on that in another video. This video, let's just focus on how much should I charge. So the salon has their base price. Where is the private nail tech's base price? So I always say charge based on your local salon. As in, if your local salon is charging a base set at $45, includes gel polish or acrylic powder, charge $40 for a short gel polish or acrylic powder. Because if they don't like your prices, guess what? They're gonna try to go to another nail tech in the area. It might be higher, it may be lower, but if they go to a salon, they're gonna see that it's the same price. Or they have been to the salon in your local area before and had the same price. So more likely they're gonna agree. And from there, you can upcharge based on what the client requires. Hey, this inspo set is longer, has more this and that. This is gonna cost extra starting from there. So using the salon in your local area as a reference for a beginner is definitely a great tech skill to use, or a great utility to use to be able to reference how much you should charge base wise. And when it comes to just going on upcharges with the length, shape, that's a lot of different variables. You definitely can look into your local area, the nail techs in your area, how much they're charging too. Sometimes, I don't think I would, for me personally, I wouldn't mind if a nail tech looked at my pricing list and just kind of, just to kind of get a gist of what is charged in that area. But then again, when you do that, you have to understand that the nail tech may have more experience than you, maybe working there longer than you. So their price may be a lot higher and their clients are more likely willing to pay for it compared to if you were starting off. So this is for just the beginner nail tech. But if you are a nail tech that is experienced and you're kind of stuck in this limbo where you don't know if you should go up in the price or not, and you're afraid to lose clients. And losing clients is one of the natural thing. Whenever you go up on price, you gotta bite the bullet and just really go up in your price. And some more or less, when one client leaves, two client comes. I always see it. There are clients out there that don't care about the price and they're willing to pay whatever price. if it's quality and there are clients out there that if they see too low of a price, they're less inclined to book because they reflect that price based on the quality. So with that being said, I'm going to end this first video. I know I'm kind of all over the place. I'm gonna get better at it, guys, I promise. But the next video, I'm actually gonna really break down the pricing for the private nail tech from every, I guess I really did that already in this video earlier. So we don't need two videos at all for that. So let's leave it at with this video, and I want to leave some final notes. A lot of these, information I give out is very subjective based on my experience in salon and also with other nail techs in this industry that's, students of mine or peers or influencers that I communicate with and how they're pricing. And in the future, I'll bring on some of these, prominent nail techs or even just nail techs in general and just successful nail techs actually that have built up their clientele from the ground up and see how they did it. And I really think those podcasts will be really fun. So this one is just my first one, and I'm just gonna be all over the place. But I think in the future, I'm gonna just have a lot of keynotes to kind of focus, and I'm not gonna be rambling a lot. You guys are gonna kill me if I have these videos are like over 20 minutes. I want to try to keep these videos around 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure I went over my 10-minute mark, but I appreciate you guys joining me in my first video. And if I said anything wrong or you don't agree with, I'm sorry. This is based on my opinion and my experience. And let me know what you guys think in the comments and below this video. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube because I think I got a lot of fun things coming for this podcast when I'm bringing in a lot more nail techs that I've known for a really long time, and I'm pretty sure you guys want to hear from them also. All right, so let's end this podcast with that. I catch you guys later. Make sure you subscribe and leave me a comment on what topic I should speak on next and who to bring onto this podcast. I can reach out to them. Hopefully they don't leave me on red. All right, guys. Later.